If the Empire put a bounty on your head tomorrow and you had to vanish into the Outer Rim forever, which small ship would you actually pick? I ranked 15 of them by cargo, consumables, weapons, and how it really feels to call one home for the rest of your life. So here are all 15, starting from the bottom. Number 15, the Scion Shuttle. Morgan Elsbeth flies this thing in Ahsoka, and it is barely a starship at all. It's a small, gold-plated personal transport with two-side stabilizers. A hyperdrive not worth bragging about, and basically zero weapons beyond whatever a witch with an ancient sword can do herself. The ship was built for one job, ferrying Elsbeth, Baylan Skoll, and Shin between the surface of Cetos and the Eye of Sion hyperspace ring above it. And here's what makes it the worst pick on this entire list. Canon sources give almost no hard numbers on this ship because it only exists in Ahsoka, and what we see on screen is a luxury commuter pod with room for a handful of passengers. No visible cargo hold, no living quarters, no galley, and no bunk. You get cushioned seats and a viewport, that's it. Living in this thing forever would mean sleeping upright in your seat while your spine slowly fuses into a question mark. And the second you need to actually go somewhere far, you're completely dependent on a bigger ship to carry you. Morgan doesn't use it as a home, she uses it as a taxi. That pretty much tells you everything. Number 14, the Sheathipede class transport. This is the curvy little Neimoidian shuttle you've seen all over the Clone Wars and Rebels. It measures 14.4 meters long, runs a Class 1 hyperdrive, which is honestly impressive for something this tiny, and the standard model rolls off the line completely unarmed. The Confederacy version sometimes adds 3 laser cannons for high-value escort runs, but the stock factory model has nothing. Cargo capacity sits around 1 metric ton, and consumables stretch maybe a single week before you start chewing on the upholstery for fiber. But here's the truly insane part nobody talks about. The original Sheathipede variants the Neimoidians loved best were flown entirely by automated droid pilots, with passengers lounging in the rear compartment while the ship guided itself to the destination. The Spectres on Rebels had to heavily modify their Phantom II just to make it properly pilotable in combat. Imagine living forever in a ship designed around the idea that you'd rather nap in the back than actually fly. Number 13, the Quad Jumper. This is the little 4-engine tugboat Rey almost steals before grabbing the Falcon in The Force Awakens. It measures just 7.98 meters long, comes equipped with a Class 4 hyperdrive only when modified because the stock version has no hyperdrive at all, and rolls out of the factory with 0 weapons mounted on the hull. The dorsal hardpoints can mount lasers, sensor packages, or external fuel tanks, but anything you bolt on costs you precious cargo room. Stock cargo capacity is about 1 metric ton, consumables last roughly 1 month, and there's room for 1 pilot plus 2 passengers in the cabin. However, this thing was never built to be a starship in the first place. It's a literal tugboat, designed to clamp magnetic grips onto freight containers and shove them around orbital transfer yards. The 4 cylindrical thrusters make it absurdly maneuverable in atmosphere, so weaving through canyons while stormtroopers chase you is actually realistic. But living in it forever means cramming yourself into a workspace barely bigger than a refresher stall on a cruise ship. There's minimalist fold-down bunks built into the side walls, and that's genuinely about it for amenities. Still, for someone who values mobility over comfort, it just barely works. Number 12, the Breon Dayvan. Now here's where things start getting actually interesting. Cassian borrows this one in Season 1 of Andor to travel to Morlana 1 while searching for his missing sister, and it's basically the Star Wars version of a Sprinter van conversion. It runs about 20.4 meters long, uses a Class 1 hyperdrive on the modified Y-Wing engine versions, and the upgraded model packs a small twin laser cannon on top of the cockpit, plus a rear rotating blaster turret similar to the one mounted on a fire spray. Cargo capacity sits around 30 metric tons, and consumables stretch for about 3 months, which is genuinely respectable for something this size. But here's the catch that drops it to 12. The Dayvan trades raw hauling space for actual livability. You get a small galley, fold-down bunks, real seating, a refresher, and a viewing port. The rounded, unsloped front of the ship makes the cockpit feel weirdly spacious, compared to other ships in this size class. Now, the second pirates show up, you basically have no real firepower to fight back with. And the moment the engines die, you're stuck floating in a metal box that's more comfortable than survivable. It's van life across the galaxy with all the romance and all the problems. Number 11, the YT-1760 Light Transport. This is the high-performance sport model of the famous YT series from Corellian Engineering Corporation. It measures 20 meters long, runs a Class 1 hyperdrive with a Class 15 backup, which is genuinely fast for the YT line, and rolls off the factory floor with no weapons and no combat shields at all from the factory. Most owners bolt on a single dorsal turret laser cannon or upgrade to a pair of quad lasers because flying around with nothing in the wrong neighborhood of the outer rim is asking for trouble. And cargo capacity is just 10 metric tons, and consumables run about 2 months on standard supply. But here's the brutal trade-off Corellian made. The 1760 was built specifically to fix every speed complaint about the YT-1300, so the designers crammed it full of massive engines and sublight thrusters. Those upgrades reduced the cargo bay to literally 1/10 of what its famous cousin, the Millennium Falcon, can carry. You get a faster ship with a comfortable cockpit, but the cargo bay is barely big enough to swing a Wookiee in. Living in it forever means deciding whether you'd rather move fast or actually own things, and most people end up picking neither. And speaking of ships that can't pick a lane, wait until you see the next one. Number 10, the Skirg H-6 bomber. Now we get to the first ship that was never meant to be a home in the first place. The Havoc, flown by the Fioran pirate Nim, is the most famous example of this Nubian design collective monster. It runs 22 meters long, packs a Class 2 hyperdrive with a Class 10 backup, and is loaded to the teeth with 6 forward-facing laser cannons arranged 3 on each wing, a Wind laser cannon turret on the dorsal side, plus a proton bomb launcher and an experimental energy bomblet generator. Cargo capacity sits at just 10 metric tons, and consumables last only about 2 weeks before you starve. And here's exactly why it ranks where it does. The Skirg is a bomber first, a starfighter second, and a home a very distant third. The interior is built to hold ordnance and crew positions for a pilot, gunner, and navigator working in shifts. There's no real living space, no galley, and barely room to lie down. You'd have the firepower to flatten a Corvette in 3 passes, but you'd also be sleeping inside a ship whose entire reactor core is wired to manufacture live energy bomblets on demand. Comfort? Forget it entirely. But you'll never get robbed twice by the same pirate. Number 9. The Auzituck Anti-Slaver Gunship. This is the Wookiee anti-slaver gunship from Star Wars Rebels and the Mandalorian comics. It measures 14.7 meters long, runs a Class 1 hyperdrive with a Class 12 backup, and brings serious firepower in the form of 3 forward-mounted Seregi twin laser cannons that can punch through hulls way bigger than its own. Cargo capacity sits at roughly 1 to 2 metric tons, depending on whether you're hauling passengers, and consumables stretch about 1 month standard. It carries 8 to 20 Wookiee warriors, which is genuinely impressive for something this small. But here's the weird detail that bumps it to 9 and makes it unforgettable. The Auzituck's interior is built almost entirely from Rocher wood, the same massive trees that grow on Kashyyyk, with Rocher sap used as the structural glue. The whole ship literally smells like a Wookiee treehouse, which is either amazing or disturbing depending on your nose. The wood is somehow as strong as alloy hull plating and can shrug off heavy laser cannon fire, which is absolutely bonkers engineering. However, the cargo space is brutally limited because every cubic meter is built for warriors, not couches. Living in it forever means accepting you'll never own more than what fits in a single backpack. Number 8. The Jumpmaster 5000. This is Dengar's personal ride from The Empire Strikes Back. The crescent-shaped scout ship measures just 20 meters long, runs a Class 3 hyperdrive on the modified version because the stock Jumpmaster hyperdrive is famously slow and prone to total breakdowns, and Dengar has armed it to the teeth with a quad laser cannon, a mini ion cannon, and a proton torpedo launcher. The integrated R2 droid even fires the quad guns automatically, while Dengar focuses on flying. Cargo capacity sits around 50 metric tons on the stock model, but Dengar's heavily modified version drops that significantly to make room for engines and weapons. Consumables stretch about 2 months, but here's the part that genuinely hurts to talk about. The Jumpmaster is mostly engine. The Crescent Hull packs powerful long-range sensors, a cockpit, Spartan living quarters, and a tiny cargo bay, all crammed into one offset cylindrical fuselage. Dengar lives on this ship full-time as a working bounty hunter, but the moment you start adding weapons and engine upgrades like he did, you lose half your living space to mod points. Living in it means choosing between firepower and a place to actually sleep, and most owners always pick the guns. Brutal trade-off, and the next ship up makes that exact same trade-off look almost reasonable. Number 7. The Fondor Hull Craft. This is Luthen Rail's spy ship from Andor, officially classified as a V-21.1 Chevlex light hull craft from Fondor Yard's commercial ventures. It's the Aston Martin of the Star Wars galaxy. It runs about 25 meters long, packs a Class 2 hyperdrive that Luthen has secretly upgraded to be way faster than stock specs allow. And the modified weapons loadout is absolutely ridiculous for a civilian ship. We're talking a hidden retractable dorsal laser turret, 2 side-mounted laser beam projectors that slice through ships like lightsabers, a rear projectile launcher, and twin forward laser cannons. Stock cargo capacity sits around 60 to 80 metric tons, but Luthen's version sacrifices a chunk of that for hidden compartments. Consumables stretch about 1 month. But here's what makes it both interesting and limiting at the same time. The interior has a luxury decoy lounge designed to fool Imperial inspectors, complete with polished brass surfaces and plush seating, plus a hidden weapons locker, a smuggling compartment, a real bunk built behind a fake wall, and even a back garage that fits Luthen's speeder bike. There's also a droid mod that serves as co-pilot and triple encrypts the Navi computer with extinct languages. However, all those secret compartments mean the actual usable living space is way smaller than the brochure promises. It's gorgeous, deadly, and just a little bit cramped for full-time living. Number 6. The Firespray 31 Patrol Craft. Halfway through the list, we land on Boba Fett's Slave One. This Quat Systems engineering ship measures 21.5 meters long, runs a Class 3 hyperdrive with a Class 15 backup on the stock version. Though Boba's modified one runs much faster, and the standard model packs 2 twin-mounted blaster cannons on the turret. Boba's ship adds a tractor beam projector, concussion missiles, ion cannons, and proton torpedoes to that base loadout. Cargo capacity sits at 70 metric tons, and consumables stretch about 1 month before resupply. Number 5. The ZH-25 Quester. Now we crack the top 5, and this is where I started getting genuinely surprised by my own ranking. This little Starfeld Industries workhorse measures 22.4 meters long, runs a Class 1 or Class 2 hyperdrive with a Class 12 backup, and comes armed with 2 forward fire-linked laser cannons from the factory. Many owners add concussion missile launchers and rear laser turrets as common upgrades for trade route security. Cargo capacity is a respectable 85 metric tons, and consumables stretch a full 3 months thanks to 75 Mark IV fuel cells packed into the rear hull. But here's why it ranks higher than ships that are way more famous. Starfeld designed the Quester specifically as a dedicated cargo freighter, which means every cubic meter inside is optimized for storage and life support rather than weapons or amenities. The ship uses no less than 55 different biotechnologies for life support, which is bordering on overkill for something this size. It's not glamorous, it's not famous, and you wouldn't see a poster of one on a kid's wall, but living in it forever would be shockingly comfortable and reliable. It's the boring, efficient pickup truck of small starships, and that's exactly why it makes the top 5. Number 4. The Razor Crest ST-70 Assault Ship. Now we hit the most famous ship on this entire list, Din Djarin's personal gunship. This ST-70 class assault ship measures 28 meters long, runs a Class 2 hyperdrive with a Class 15 backup, and Din has replaced the original 2 laser cannons with 2 Mark IIIe heavy laser cannons mounted forward, plus a dual laser cannon turret on the rear. 2 engines, 1 hyperdrive, and an astromech socket Din refuses to use because of his deep droid trauma. Cargo capacity sits at 70 metric tons, and consumables stretch about 1 month between resupply runs. And here's exactly what bumps it this high on the ranking. The Razor Crest is a former Imperial-era military patrol gunship that Din has converted into a full-time mobile home, weapons depot, and bounty processing facility. The cargo hold contains a vac tube, a weapons locker, a carbonite freezing chamber for live bounties, a real sleeping bunk, and even a small refresher tucked into the corner. Din uses every single meter of interior space for something useful. Living in it forever means accepting that your home is also your workplace, your prison, and your panic room all at once. Plus, you can initiate ground security protocols that turn the whole ship into a fortress. It's genuinely livable as long as you don't crash it into the ice lake on Maldo Kreis, like Din did in Chapter 10. Number 3, the TIE Lone Scout A. And now we hit the top 3, which is exactly where things get unexpected. This is the civilian variant of the TIE Scout Starfighter from Sienar Fleet Systems. It measures 24 meters long, which makes it one of the largest TIE variants ever built, runs a Class 2 hyperdrive with a Class 15 backup, and packs a single chin-mounted laser cannon for defense against pirates. That's it for stock weapons, just 1 cannon, but the ship has shields which the standard military TIE doesn't even include. But here's the part that completely blew my mind when I dug into the specs. The Lone Scout A carries 150 metric tons of cargo in a 60 cubic meter hold, which is the same tonnage as the Moldy Crow, despite being technically a TIE variant. It also carries enough consumables for a full year of continuous operation, which is by far the longest duration on this entire list by a massive margin. The ship was specifically designed for solo deep space exploration in unmapped sectors, so everything inside is built for one person to live independently for months at a time. It uses the same twin-ion engine technology as a regular TIE, but the elongated hull behind the cockpit is basically a self-contained apartment with a workshop. If you wanted to disappear into the Outer Rim and never see another sentient being for a year, this is the ship to do it in. Number 2, the Moldy Crow. Kyle Katarn's heavily modified Raptor from the Dark Forces and Jedi Knight games sits in the runner-up spot. This dagger-shaped freighter measures 29 meters long, which makes it the biggest ship on this entire list, runs a Class 2 hyperdrive, and the stock model rolls out of Corellian Engineering Corporation completely unarmed. Kyle's modified version adds 2 heavy laser cannons, fire-linked on the front, plus a proton torpedo launcher for serious targets. Cargo capacity sits at a massive 150 metric tons, and consumables stretch up to 6 months on some recorded versions. But here's exactly where it gets brutal, and also why it doesn't take the top spot. The HWK-290 was originally marketed by Corellian to wealthy executives and government officials as a luxury courier, so the standard interior actually includes decent crew quarters, room for 2 to 6 passengers, and a surprisingly oversized cargo hold for its size class. But pilots like Kyle famously sacrificed that cargo space for sensor arrays, shield generators, and weapons mods. The deeper your ship is loaded for combat, the less room you have to actually live. Stock. This is one of the most comfortable small ships in the galaxy. Modified. It's a flying gun rack with a bunk shoved in the corner. Number 1. The YT-2400 Light Freighter. And that brings us to the top spot, made famous by Dash Rendar's Outrider in Shadows of the Empire. This pocket-sized cousin of the Millennium Falcon measures 21 meters long, runs a Class 2 hyperdrive with a Class 12 backup, and the stock model comes armed with 2 dual laser cannons mounted on Corellian servo turrets, 1 dorsal and 1 ventral. The ship has 13 weapon emplacement points total, with only 6 used in stock configuration, leaving 7 free for whatever you want to bolt on. The maximum atmospheric speed hits 800 kilometers per hour thanks to Corellian's signature engine tuning. And here's exactly why it absolutely deserves the top spot on this list. The 2400 hauls a full 150 metric tons of cargo, the same tonnage as the Lone Scout A and the Moldy Crow, but the saucer-shaped hull gives it dramatically more physical volume for bulky items because of the rounded geometry. Consumables stretch a full 2 months. The crew quarters and living areas are housed inside the bracing arms that connect the cockpit to the main hull, leaving the rounded saucer area almost entirely free for cargo, modifications, and personal living space. There are 2 escape pods, double-armored bulkheads, and the entire ship can be flown by a single pilot. Living in this thing would be the closest thing to actually owning a Falcon without the legal trouble that comes with stealing one from a hut. It's fast, tough, modular, and built for a lifetime of running cargo through the outer rim. You could disappear in this ship and never look back, so that's the full ranking from worst to best, and the gap between top and bottom is wild. The Scion shuttle gives you cushioned seats and a viewport, while the 21-meter 2400 gives you 150 metric tons of cargo, dual laser cannon turrets, and 2 full months of consumables packed into a saucer hull built for a lifetime on the run. The Lone Scout A still owns the consumables crown at a full year of operation on its Class 2 hyperdrive and single chin-mounted laser cannon, making it the champion for anyone who wants to vanish into uncharted space. And the 29-meter Moldy Crow holds the title for biggest hull on the list with its 150 metric tons of cargo. So, what do you think? What actually makes a small ship feel like home forever? Drop a comment with what you'd pick and what we missed, because you know there's a ship you're ready to defend, like it's the last safe hyperspace lane in the galaxy. Like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.